Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about deflation and inflation. I recently watched a Jeff Booth interview and I thought it was very interesting and I wanted to share some of his points today. So he talks about the natural state of a free market is deflation. Now, we're obviously not in a deflationary system or economy or world, and we've seen prices around us just continue to go up and out of control. But in a world where there's a free market, things actually could get cheaper for us. And so we've never seen that, and maybe one day we will through Bitcoin. Now, deflation occurs because entrepreneurs constantly compete to create more value and solve problems more efficiently. So, an example that Jeff Booth gave was the calculator example. So, originally you had to buy like a $100 calculator as a physical calculator, and it was very expensive. It was very low quality. It was sort of just this crappy thing that couldn't do much, but it could solve basic solutions, problems. Then comes along someone that creates an app that can basically do the exact same thing on your phone, but for $10. So we've gone from $100 to $10, and then a competitor comes along and goes, I know how to make the exact same thing, if not better, and I can charge you just $5. Then another competitor comes, $1, then 50 cents, then eventually it was 1 cent, and now it's free. Every phone, computer, they all have calculators built in because it's no longer a problem. It all got solved. And this actually encourages those entrepreneurs to move on and do bigger and better things for the world. It doesn't actually kill motivation or kill production in society. It encourages productivity. Another example we've seen is TVs. They've constantly got cheaper and cheaper. And it's not because the quality of the TVs got worse or, um, yeah, the market is so, well, it is large, but it's the fact that productivity has increased and it's allowed the TVs to be made cheaper. So now we've replaced human labor with machinery, AI, computers, technology, and this has basically driven TV prices down. Now, TV prices could be down even more, but because of inflation, the deflation has slowed down. And so, yeah, TVs could be cheaper than they are if we didn't have inflation, but we do. Our current system reverses the natural deflation. So our monetary system requires inflation and constant credit expansion to continue functioning. So we are so propped up, our economy is so propped up by inflation, the monetary inflation, so money printing and a credit dollar that can be basically printed at any point. It's just a digital number on a screen, and they have the ability to click a button and increase the dollar supply. Now, this obviously weakens the dollar you're holding. Your purchasing power goes down, so you can buy less than you could the year before. Um, and yeah, it's basically, essentially, it's just theft, stealing productivity gains that should benefit everyone. So you should not get your time and energy that you've traded for money absolutely robbed because they've come in and made that money that you earn worth less, essentially. Another big problem that it's caused is housing as utility versus investment. So a house should just be used to live in. And you shouldn't have to buy 5 to 10 houses because you think it's a good investment. Because all that does is price out the average family. Houses that were built, say, 25 years ago have deteriorated. They've got way worse. Maybe they're faded in paint color, they're faded in quality, and they've gone up in price, and it shouldn't be like that. And that's because people are seeing houses as investments and not just utilities. So the rich people are coming in, they're buying us all the real estate they can, and they're driving prices to the moon. Now, the so instead homes basically now have a monetary premium. So instead of just being a utility case, they now are considered this huge investment with a monetary premium, and it's just pricing out everybody basically. What appears as asset inflation is actually the currency's debasement. So we go, oh man, houses must be a really good investment. Like I need to get in that. Like they're constantly going up, but reality is they're really just showing how weak the dollar's getting. And those houses aren't necessarily worth any more than they were. It's just because the dollars are worth less. Bitcoin's revolutionary role. Bitcoin is creating the first global free market the world has ever seen. It's never been done before, and it's bounded by energy. So it's actually backed by energy in proof of work. So it basically ties the physical world with the digital world in that sense. And it's a stronger currency than the dollars because it's backed by energy, and dollars are just backed by thin air. So we used to be backed by the gold standard, and then we were backed by treasury bonds, and now we're actually just backed by legit nothing. So at any time, they can print more money and make your dollars worth less, essentially. Now, Bitcoin measures the true rate at which prices should be falling in a free market. So we've seen houses. Let me see if I can get it up. Okay, so what we can see here is basically houses in 2016. They were worth 288 grand essentially, and they were worth 664 Bitcoin. 4 years later, that same house has increased slightly, so you could say housing was a profitable investment, but look at how much Bitcoin it cost. Only 45 Bitcoin. Then 4 years later, the house has gone up again quite significantly this time, and it's only worth 6.6 Bitcoin. So this is a really, really good example, and this photo gets shared a lot around Bitcoiners, and it basically just shows everything is trending to zero compared to Bitcoin, and it really exposes what houses are really worth. I'll remove that one. The system incompatibility. So there's the Bitcoin system, the free market system, and then there's what we're basically living in now. And that's anyone that's holding fiat dollars. So the US dollar, the euros, the Australian dollar, whatever it may be. If you're holding dollars, you are in that system. And if you're holding Bitcoin, you're in this system. So these systems are both trying to run at the same time, and they're sort of butting heads. People are going, Bitcoin's only worth 95 grand, but you're pricing it in something that is constantly getting debased and worth less. And it's just really an unfair measurement because we have no idea how many dollars there are, so we can't really chuck a value on Bitcoin. And basically, Bitcoin's coming here to replace the old system. They're not meant to just coexist. So they're coexisting now, but this has to crumble at some point, and it's the first one that's going to crumble, and I think it's going to be the dollars. I think they will be the ones to go. Now they will trend to zero. Maybe they still exist, but Bitcoin will become basically not only a good store of value, but a medium of exchange, allowing international transactions within seconds, and yeah, just basically replacing the old system. And it won't be the centralized currency anymore like the dollar. It will be very decentralized, and anyone will have a chance. There won't be the very rich benefiting. It will be everyone adopting the system. The sooner the better, they will be benefiting. It's basically you don't want to be the last one to join, but you'll still benefit regardless of when you enter. um, so yeah, the inflationary system, the dollar system, and then the Bitcoin deflationary system cannot coexist long term. The current financial system must centralize and manipulate money to prevent deflation. There's the credit-based systems cannot allow deflation without collapse, whereas Bitcoin offers an alternative that doesn't require continuous debt expansion. So because of its limited money supply, you can actually sort of put a value on things properly because you can denominate it in over 21 million coins. And then those 21 million coins can all be divisible each by 100 million Satoshis. So you don't need debt. You can sort of just compare how many houses there are, or how many eggs there are, or whatever you want to call it, and basically denominate it over Bitcoin, and you can sort of get what they're truly worth. And allowing a free market just makes it a competitive space again. And if everyone was using Bitcoin, you could sort of say, for example, a farmer selling eggs, he would be selling a carton for $5, and then another farmer comes along and goes, "What, $5 Bitcoin?" And he would go, "Oh, well, I'll sell them for $4." And then the next competitor will come for $3. And then the person that makes them too cheap, is not sustainable, they might win in the short term with people coming and taking their eggs. But because the production of those eggs and to look after the hens and everything, he will basically get priced out as well because he can't. It's not sustainable. And so then you will find uh, sort of in the middle what the value of eggs should be, and then that's the price it will stay relative to. So that's a free market, and that's what we want to see, and we need to basically get out of what we're in right now, this credit-based system. And I think imagine going to work and you can trade your time and energy for something that is so scarce with a limited supply and actually hold its value into the future. So it's a world we've never really been able to see, and I think it's very, very exciting. And I love Jeff Booth's point of view on this. Jeff believes we've never lived in a truly global free market and that Bitcoin represents a historical paradigm shift, allowing technological progress to benefit everyone through naturally falling prices rather than being captured through monetary inflation. So yeah, I'll leave the link to that video in the description. He's done a lot of good interviews. You can sort of catch him all around YouTube. And yeah, I encourage you to do so. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Scan the QR code to send me some sats for support or leave a comment or a like. And I'm going to enjoy this coffee. So cheers, guys. Appreciate it. And yeah, stack sats, stay humble.